Hello everyone, and this is our Module 4 entitled Media Literacy. I am Dr. Erwin Evidencial. So before we proceed to media literacy, I want you to think of our previous lessons first. Okay? So once you are done thinking of all the learnings that you had before during our previous module, you may proceed now to our discussion. So under this module 4, we have the following learning outcomes. First, define media literacy. Second, cite the important roles of media literacy. Third, explain media information literacy along with various aspects and dimensions. Four, examine the advantages and disadvantages of media. Fifth, draw relevant life lessons and significant values in generating, utilizing, and crafting media tools. Now, let us talk more about media literacy. As stated, the term media refers to all electronic or digital means and print or artistic visual used to transmit messages through reading, print media, seeing, visual media, hearing, audio media, or changing and playing with interactive media, or some combinations of each. So when we speak of media, we are talking about when we speak of print media, these are the magazine, the newspaper. So any paper that transmit messages. It could be a brochure or a leaflet. And then when we speak of visual media, examples of these are television, when you watch movies and things like that. And hearing, of course, when you listen to radio, when you listen to Spotify and there are messages there, and that is audio media and so on and so forth. And most of the time, there are combinations of, let's say, seeing and hearing, visual and audio media. Like when you are watching television, you are not only seeing, but you can also listen to the messages given. And when we speak naman of media literacy, we're talking about your or our ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create media. So a while ago, we defined what media is. So this time, we're talking about media literacy, telling us that it is our ability to access. Do we have the ability to access media? Do we have the ability to analyze media, evaluate, and create media? So, media literate youth and adults can understand the complex messages received from television, radio, internet, newspapers, magazines, books, billboards, video games, music, and all forms of media. So, one thing about the digital world today, there are a lot of examples of media. So, it's not only about reading or seeing or hearing, but we have this more powerful than that, which is the social media, which is also part of it, part of media literacy, because it also conveys messages. So, meaning to say that uh, when we become a media literate person, we should have this ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create media. And in return, we can get benefit from it. Let's say we know the messages of a certain video game. So therefore, if we know the message of it and we know that it is bad to our mental health or to our values and principles, so therefore we will no longer play that game. Or even tell our friends not to play that game because it is the messages that it conveys is not aligned to our principles and values. Or the use of internet nowadays, no, there are a lot of fake news, there are a lot of misinformations going on in the internet, specifically the social media, wherein we might be trapped with all this misinformation to the point that we might think that the information that we are getting are actually correct, where in fact, if we are going to analyze it further, maybe it is not. So, therefore, media literacy skills are included in the educational standards in language arts, social studies, health, science, and other subjects. So, media literacy may be incorporated also in other subjects. No, so let's say you have subject in humanities or in other sciences, wherein you are being asked to scrutinize a certain article, whether it is correct or not, or you are being asked to play a certain video game and and they will ask you about your feelings after playing the video game. Okay, or watching a certain television shows or a movie, and then you'll be asked about what do you think are the messages given by those shows. So media literacy is an effective and engaging way to apply critical skills to a wide range of issues. So meaning to say na there are a lot of issues that we can tackle when we speak of media literacy. As we all know that the information that we are getting, so most of the information that we get in the community as well as in the if national issue, international issues are usually brought to us by media. No? Hindi ka naman kailangan pumunta pa sa isang event, let's say, sumabog yung Mount Taal before, hindi mo naman kailangan pumunta dun sa place para lang masabi mo na sumabog ang Bulkan Taal. So, mas mabilis kapag ginagamit natin yung media. Or let's say naman, yung mga balita sa ibang bansa, no? Na hindi naman natin kailangan pumunta doon just to witness the what is happening there, but we have to rely on media for us to be able to see or to learn what is happening around the world. So media literacy therefore is the ability to identify different types of media from wide array of sources and understand the messages they bring. So in this regard, we might think that are the messages of media good or bad? Is this certain video game good or bad for me? Or what about this show? What about this music that I am listening to? Okay, so that's why since sa panahon natin ngayon, there are a lot of sources that we can get. Most likely, no, there are a lot of messages na nakukuha natin. And it's up to us to identify and analyze these messages, whether these are good or bad. We have to remember, no, na kung ano man yung pinapasok natin sa ating katawan, yung nakikita natin, napapakinggan natin, binabasa natin, no, ay lalabas din yun sa atin. Ibig sabihin, we are there's a certain saying there that we are what we eat, something like that, no. So, though we can think of it as hypothetical na whatever we input in our body, yun tayo. No? So kung nanonood ka ng mga palabas na maayos ang mga messages, so magiging mabuting tao ka. So kung hindi ka naman nanonood ng mga ganun, at pinapanood mo ay something na violente, something na pornographic, no? Ay lilitaw at lilitaw din yun sa atin or sa'yo for that example. So media literacy concepts. So these are the different concepts about media literacy. So it is the ability to critically assess the accuracy and validity of information transmitted by the mass media and produce information through various forms. So do we accept easily any information that we read in the social media or in the newspaper or information that we hear from the news from the radio or even from the television? So media literacy tell us that it is our ability to critically assess the accuracy and validity of information. So meaning to say, pag mataas ang media literacy mo, hindi ka basta-basta maniniwala dun sa mga napapanood mo at saka sa mga nababasa mo. Lalo na if it is too good to be true, di ba? So isa sa mga bagay-bagay bakit madaming Pinoy nabibiktima ng mga scammer, because we do not know how to analyze properly, 'di ba? So nakita mo lang na malaki ang kita dito, na okay ito, hindi ka na magbabasa, hindi ka na magre-review, hindi ka na magtatanong-tanong. Kasi nakita mo malaking kikitain mo, eh. So, kaya anong nangyari sa huli na-scam pala. Okay, so um, we have to possess this ability to critically assess the accuracy and validity of information. Okay? So also known as media education, it is the ability to realize that all kinds of media show a representation of reality. So mapa-sine man yan. Well, of course, sa mga news naman, it is the representation of reality, 'di ba? Pero how about video game? Okay, so yung video game ba ay representation ng reality natin? Paano kung dun sa video game you are a knight, no? You have powers, you have lots of money, uh, you have your kingdom, you have your castle, and so on and so forth. No, is that still a representation of reality? Well, by definition, no, sabi dito, all kinds of media show a representation of reality. So we can perhaps see there that um, there are there are connections between the game and the actual reality. Third, it is the process of accessing, decoding, evaluating, and analyzing, creating both print and electronic media. Okay, so this one is um, easily be understood. So four, it depicts experience of reading text and designing hypertext made possible through technology. Okay. So fifth, it pertains to understanding how to use today's technology, how to operate equipment, use various software, and explore the internet. So media literacy ngayon ay hindi lang about print media or about visual and audio media. So andito na din yung use of technology. Okay? So dahil sa bilis ng development ng mga technology ngayon, we can also include this as part of media literacy of every individual. So how to operate the technology, the equipment, no? How to use the software, how to operate, no? 'Di ba pansin niyo kapag medyo may edad na, let's say mga lolo't lola natin, medyo 'pag inabutan mo ng bagong phone, they do not want to use it because sabihin nila baka masira, baka hindi nila alam kung paano gamitin. So, ibig sabihin, mababa na yung media literacy nila. But kung halimbawa, ikaw yung tao na madali mo natututunan yung pag-ooperate ng technology, pag-ooperate ng mga equipment, paggamit ng mga software, and you can easily explore internet. Then somehow, ikaw ay naka-adapt ka na sa bagong media literacy. So as a 21st century approach to education, media literacy builds understanding of the role of media in society as well as the essential skills of inquiry and self-expression necessary for democratic citizens. So that means na for us to know that there is a role, an important role of media literacy in understanding you know, in understanding what is happening around us. Meaning, yes, we get information from the media. Then therefore we should, you know, sabi kasi dito, as well as the essential skills of inquiry. So what are these essential skills of inquiry? And self-expression for democratic citizen. So as stated there. So seven, it represents a response to the complexity of the ever-changing electronic environment and communication channels. So media literacy has something to do also with the response to the complexity of the ever-changing electronic environment. So pansin nyo, pa-evolve ng pa-evolve yung ating mga cellphone, pa-evolve ng pa-evolve yung ating mga laptops, yung mga computer desktop natin, pa-evolve din. So all technologies now, nag-evolve sila. So they evolve in as a whole, no, it is very complex na we have to respond, no? Pag sinabi nating media literacy, we can easily respond to the different changes in the kind of technology that we have today. So eight, critical evaluation of media requires the ability to analyze and disseminate various features to others. Number nine, it is about teaching critical media management strategies, including ICTs in schools and learning centers. So I think parang sa panahon naman ngayon, ano na eh, talagang itinuturo na ang ICT in the different schools. So mapa-public or private man, dahil yung palang cellphone is already part of media, no? So what more in using computers? So these are included in the ICT, information communication technology, topics in schools and learning centers. And number 10, it includes the ability to perform effective internet searches, awareness and respect of intellectual property and copyright law, and the ability to identify truth from fake news. So when we search answers to the internet, no, do we respect? Are we aware and do we respect the intellectual property of the person who wrote that particular text na kinokopya mo para maging sagot sa mga tanong, let's say, sa module, no, or sa activity sheets. Okay, so ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating mataas ang media literacy ng isang tao, we have the ability to perform effective internet searches. So, ibig sabihin, hindi tayo basta-basta na nag-search or kung nag-search man tayo, we know how to filter, no? Alam natin kung hanggang saan lang yung ano, kung alin ang dapat natin na kunin na information. And of course, we have to acknowledge the person where we get that information. So, kaya may mga citations, may mga references na sinusulat whenever we um, copy any text from the internet. So these are the role of media literacy. Okay, so first, learn to think critically. So when people evaluate media, they decide if the messages make sense, di ba? Including the key ideas before being convinced on the information that they get from it. So are we the type of person na we evaluate we evaluate media, no? Do we analyze whether the messages that they tell us are correct information? So yun. So that's why in this case, the role of media literacy, it helps us to learn to think critically. Okay. So another is that become a smart consumer of products and information. Media literacy helps individuals learn how to determine whether something is credible, especially in the advertising before they can be persuaded with the products on sale. So sa dami ngayon ng mga nagbebenta online, no, matutokso ka dahil super baba ng presyo compared, lalo na if you are going to compare that with the mall price, no? But sinasabi dito, yung role ng media literacy, it help us to become smart consumer of products and information. So meaning, dapat tutulungan tayo ng media literacy, mapapataas pag tumaas ito sa atin, no? Matutulungan tayo na maging isang matalinong mamimili ng mga produkto. And of course, information. Kasi we have to analyze before buying a certain product whether the claim of the advertisement is correct or not, 'di ba? Or are we the type of consumer na tinitingnan lang natin yung ano, yung artista na nag-endorse, then sasabihin mo, hindi naman yan na-endorse ni ganito kundi yan maganda. Okay, so kahit pa may mga nag-endorse ng mga sikat, may mga testimonials, it's still better to check, no? To investigate products before you buy them, lalo na if it is expensive. Okay, third, recognize point of view. Identifying an author's perspective helps individuals appreciate different ideas in the context of what they already know. So that means na you have to respect, no? You have to respect the others' ideas. Kaya sabi dito, it helps us to recognize point of view. Ibig sabihin, we can be able to appreciate the ideas of others. What if nakaiba mo sila ng point of view? So, you have to respect, no? Hindi naman dahil ito yung point of view mo, ito na talaga yung tama. Okay? And four, create media responsibly. So, well, hindi naman tayo gagawa ng magazine, di ba? Hindi naman tayo magsusulat sa dyaryo, hindi naman tayo mag-news anchor or magsusulat sa magiging DJ sa isang radio. But we have to analyze that we also create media in our own way. Let's say, nag-post ka sa Twitter, di ba? So that is microblogging. So consider na siya as media. Nag-post ka sa IG ng picture with some captions. Nag-post ka sa Facebook, no? So that still is a creation of media. So we have to be responsible in creating one. So that means na make sure that what we write in those things that we are posting are actually accurate information and should not be a cause of a confusion among the people who will be able to read our post in the social media. So fifth, identify the role of media in our culture. Media conveys something, shapes understanding of the world, and makes an individual to act or think in certain ways. So there's a role of media in our culture. Okay. So six, understand the author's goal, understanding and recognizing the type of influence something has, people can make better choices. So we have to understand the role of the author, no? Or kung sino man, halimbawa, nagbasa ka ng isang news article, or naglaro ka ng isang game, or nagbasa ka ng nanood ka at nakinig ka ng isang palabas sa television. So you have to understand the goal of the author. Ano ba yung gusto niyang i-convey? Ano ba yung message na gusto niyang iparating dun sa mga nanonood sa kanya? Okay? So yeah. So let us talk this time about social media. So ito na yung mga binabanggit natin kanina. No? So social media is a term that describes websites to connect people, um, involve user-generated content, which is the hallmark of a social media site. So a social media site or a website connects people. Okay. So let's say, for example, Facebook. So it connects people around the world. Same thing as with IG, same thing as with Twitter, and any other forms of social media. So it's sometimes called as Web 2.0, which is currently a huge opportunity to reach target audience and increase online sale. So, yung mga gumawa ng ng social media, lalo na yung nagpasimula katulad ni yung founder ng Facebook, hindi naman nila actually intensyon na maging ganito kalaki yung kanilang company, 'di ba? So what they are only making is that a certain platform where they can talk, no, yung mga magkakaklase ay makakapag-usap at makakapag-chat to each other. So hindi niya alam na na-create na pala niya ang Facebook, and na ngayon naman ay the value is billions of dollars already, 'di ba? Okay? So these are the types of social media. Social media news websites. So these are it entails users to submit links to web content like articles, podcasts, videos, and others that they find interesting, such as Dig, Reddit, and stumble upon. Second is social media networking websites. It depicts ability to upload a personal profile that usually connects with other people, such as LinkedIn, social networking for professionals, and Facebook, social networking for everyone. So yung isa, yung nauna, no, ay social networking for professionals, kasi yung mga pinag-uusapan dyan or sinesend dyan ay mga lessons, mga video lessons, PowerPoint presentations, books, and other materials that can be used for teaching or for not teaching pa din, for the mga non-teaching professionals, no. So yung hindi naka-align sa teaching. Pwede pa din naman. And of course, Facebook, social networking for everyone. So I think parang lahat, halos ng tao ay may Facebook account dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. It's such a big deal pa din talaga. So these sites serve as avenue for meeting people and developing relationships that can lead to joint venture partnerships, career opportunities, and research. So sa ibang bansa yan, napaka-applicable niyan kasi yung kanilang social media ginagamit nila to make more opportunities in the careers, to conduct researches, to meet other people, and so on. So social media photo and video sharing. So it allows users to upload photos through Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, while watching, no, in the video. Okay. So kaya dito yung social media photo and video sharing. So yung Facebook, kaya niyang gawin yan, IG, Pinterest. So another is microblogging, blogging website. Okay, so Examples of these are Snapchat, which is video-based. So sometimes called as presence apps, the services let users post very short messages like blogging and easily keep up with what their friends are posting. So a very good example of this is Twitter. Microblogging kasi konti lang naman yung pwedeng i-encode doon. Konti lang yung pwede mong sabihin per post. And then allows to follow a set of users from one dashboard. So pwede mag-comment doon sa pinost mo yung mga friends mo or may also be not friends, depende na sa setting mo, na pwede sila mag-comment or i-retweet nila. So social media review websites, it shows how social reviews can make or break a company or an organization such as Amazon and eBay. So ito yung mga ano ngayon, mga companies where you can order certain products. And then, pag naka-order ka na, may rating na kang ibibigay sa kanila, whether it is a 5, 4, 3 to 1 rater, and this can help other um, other con other clients or other customers to order again. Or so to order again, no, based on your review of their products. So this one is media information literacy. I think this is one of the subjects that you had back then in your senior high school. So it is a combination of knowledge, attitudes, skills, and practices that are required to access, analyze, evaluate, use, produce, and communicate information and knowledge in creative, legal, and ethical ways that respect human rights. So that's by definition, that is what we call as MIL, or Media and Information Literacy. So, andyan na yung mga diniscuss natin kanina about attitudes and skills, practices, analyzing, evaluating, use, produce, and communicate information and knowledge in creative, legal. So, na-highlight yung legal doon because we have to make sure that all those things that we are actually doing are in a legal and ethical ways. So, by definition, the UNESCO defines it as the set of competencies to search, critically evaluate, use and contribute information and media content wisely, the knowledge of one's rights online, refraining from cyberbullying, understanding related ethical issues, and engaging with media and ICTs to promote equality, free expression, intercultural, interreligious dialogue, peace, and others. So, di ba, medyo mabigat yung definition ng MIL pagdating sa UNESCO. Okay, so even cyberbullying, kasama sa MIL. So these are the dimensions of media and information literacy. So one is tool literacy. So this is the ability to understand and use practical and conceptual tools of current information technology, including software, hardware, and multimedia that are relevant to education in the areas of work and professional life. So, yan. So there are tools na pwedeng gamitin for media and information literacy. So magmamatter na lang dyan if kung ano yung kaya mong gamitin na tool or kung ano yung gadget mo para magamit mo yung tool na yun. So another is resource literacy. So this is the ability to understand the format, location, and access methods of information resources. The third is social structural literacy. This is knowing how information is socially situated and produced fits into the life of groups about the institution and social networks. So four is research literacy. It is the ability to understand and use IT-based tools relevant to the work of researchers and scholars that include computer software for quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis, and simulation. So kasama siya sa research literacy. Kasi of course, when you conduct researches, you have to look for information that will further support your study. And well, MIL will be very helpful in doing such. And of course, publishing literacy is the ability to format and publish research and ideas electronically in textual and multimedia forms. So part siya ng media and information literacy because once you are done with your material for disseminating information, so sometimes it has to be published lalo na if it is book, no? So kailangan ma-publish siya. So publishing literacy, sila yung nagpo-format for publication, sila yung nagpo-format whether the publication is textual or kailangan mo bang i-print or electronically wherein it will only be shown to everyone, no? So six is emerging technology literacy. So it is the ability to adapt, to understand, evaluate, and use emerging innovations in information technology. And seven is critical literacy. So it is the ability to evaluate critically the intellectual, human, and social strengths and weaknesses, potentials, and limits, benefits, and cost of information technologies. Okay, so let us talk about advantages of media. Okay, so first, media educate people on health matters, environmental conservation, and other through various forms. So of course, media educate us. So it's not only about health matters, but also about environmental conservations. And of course, people get the latest world news in a very short time regardless of distance. So, di ba, kahit napakalayo yung balita sa ibang bansa, mabilis nakakabot sa atin because of media. So people can bring out their hidden talents in the multimedia and visual arts, comedy, acting, dancing, and singing. So yung mga actors, actresses natin, mga singers, mga dancers, di ba? So mga dati-dati naman, ordinary people lang sila. But because um, mahilig silang kumanta, mahilig silang sumayaw, mahilig silang umacting, and then plus opportunity, ayun, so naging artista sila, naging singer sila, so nasa show business sila. So, media ang nagpapaabot sa atin ng mga ganong bagay. So, media increased knowledge learned from quiz programs, educational shows, and other information giving programs. So, lalo na ngayong panahon ng pandemic, ang daming mga educational shows, even in YouTube, wherein we can be able to learn our lessons. That's increasing our knowledge. So people feel convenient in accessing information through mobile phones. So yung ngayon, that's the modern ones. Cellphone lang yung hawak mo, you can be able to get um, you can be able to watch and listen to the news or look into the updates in the weather or look into what is going on around the world by just using your cell phone. So they become a vehicle in promoting products toward increased sales. Okay, so of course, part ng media ay yung marketing. No? So sa mga palabas, sa mga television shows, di ba may mga commercials. So yun. So napapataas yung sales nila dahil commercial na nila yung products using another form of media. So they serve as a good source of entertainment, di ba? Tama naman. So televisions allow electronic duplication of information that reduces mass education costing. So, dun pa lang sa yung sa mga educational shows, 'di ba? So, madaming nanonood, paulit-ulit mo lang siyang ilalabas, madami na nakakapanood. So, hindi mo na kailangan pa na i-duplicate mo, i-duplicate, but basta ipalabas mo lang doon, mabilis na. Okay? So, media leads to the diffusion of diverse cultures and cultural practices. And they help people around the world understand each other and respect differences, which is correct naman dahil because of media, we can be able to see and we can also show ourselves to the rest of the world. And then therefore, they can easily appreciate us and understand who we are and what we are. Of course, if there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. So first one, they lead to individualism. Bakit? Dahil halimbawa, cellphone ka lang ng cellphone or cellphone lang ng cellphone yung kasama mo sa bahay, so hindi mo na maramdaman yung presence nila. So thus, it usually impedes socialization with friends, family, and others. So kaya, lalo na, nanonood ka lang ng telenovela maghapon. So instead of socializing with the people around you at home, nakapahinga ka, maghapon nanonood ka lang ng TV, nag-browse ka lang ng cellphone. So it leads to individualism. So yung solo-solo lang, okey. Some media contents are not suitable for children. So yun nga, so dapat ay binabantayan natin yung mga bata na nakikipanood na kasama natin kasi there are a lot of content na hindi naman talaga dapat nila makita. Lalo well, may mga MTRCB ratings naman. Kaya lang 'pag halimbawa nanonood ka na sa other platforms na wala ng nakalagay na MTRCB rating, so ikaw na yung mag-a-identify. Kailangan mong takloban yung mata nung mga kasamahan niyong bata sa bahay, takloban yung tenga nila or better yet, papanoodin mo na lang sila ng ibang palabas na sa alam mo ay appropriate sa age nila. So, ang newspaper is geographically selective dahil hindi naman lahat ay nadadala ng dyaryo. So, usually yung mga accessible lang yung daan, yung mga nasa siyudad, pero dun sa mga on top of the mountain, I think wala na dong magdadala ng dyaryo, 'di ba? Kasi nga masyado na siyang malayo. So, the increase in advertisements in television and radio makes them less attractive. So, yun nga lang, 'di ba? Tandaan niyo 'pag may mga palabas na magaganda, let's say may laban si Pacquiao, 'di ba, mostly hindi lang mostly but usually 'no, eh, ang haba-haba ng komersiyal mas mahaba pa dun sa ano, mas mahaba pa dun sa mismong palabas, 'di ba? Yun, so hindi na siya gano'n, hindi ka na interested. Kasi habang-haba ng palabas na 'yan, 'di ba, yung commercial. So the internet can be a possible way for scams, fraud, and hacking. So alam naman natin 'yan 'no. So ang daming mga scammer ngayon sa social media. Puwedeng scammer tapos hihingan yung tao ng pera o di kaya fraud. So, mapagpanggap or hina-hack na mismo yung account just to puwedeng dahil may galit siya dun or gusto niyang pagkakitaan yung account na yun. So media can be addictive that may result in people's decreased productivity. Ito din 'no, halimbawa na na-addict na sa mobile, games. So, hindi na nakakagawa ng module, hindi nakakapaglinis ng bahay, hindi na nakapagtrabaho kasi addicted na nga siya dun sa ano, eh, addicted na nga siya dun sa mobile games. So, 7, they can cause health hazards. So, the longer exposure there are in gadgets, the more there will be radiations that can lead to poor eyesight, hearing defects, and others. They may also induce drugs and alcohol use, lalo na dun sa mga palabas na feeling nung nanonood, eh, okey lang mag-drugs, okey lang mag-inom dahil nakikita niya sa television. So they can also lead to personal injury by imitating the stunts showcased in media. Lalo na yung mga bata, let's say nanonood sila ng isang telenovela, let's say probinsyano for that matter, example lang disclaimer. Ta's gagayahin nila yung bida, magtatatakbo sila, magtatatalon-talon sila, so it might cause, accidents. They can ruin reputation through an anonymous account, malicious scandals, false accusations, and rumors, 'di ba? So madami ng mga reputation ng mga sikat ang nasira na dahil sa mga kumalat na mga ano nila, mga scandal 'no, mga sex scandals na yun, nahihirapan na yung iba sa kanila makabalik dahil hanggang ngayon ay natatandaan pa at na-access pa din yung kanilang mga videos na malalaswa. Okay? So, yan. So, how do we integrate media literacy in the curriculum? Okay, so one, teach students to evaluate media. So students learn to evaluate what they are viewing by showing them that media changes depending on who created it, the intended audience, and the biases they may be attributed to the source. So yun. So show students where to find digital resources and databases. Teachers should provide students with reliable and safe media sources and trustworthy content. So yun. So yun ang isa pa sa how do we integrate them. Compare, contrast various media sources. Ibig sabihin, pwede mo i-compare yung radio with print media, visual with social media and others. Discuss how the media edits and alters. So paano ba ini-edit, paano ba siya ina-alter, paano ba pinalilitaw ng ibang mga lalo sa mga news article, paano nila napapalitaw na ito yung una nating makikita pero hindi naman pala yun yung laman, 'di ba? Madami na nauso 'yan 'no, na mga gano'n na, negative yung balita, yung headline, pero yung palang content niya hindi naman pala talaga negative. So purposely point out to students examples of media altering photographs or stories while teaching them to be critical of what they see or read and face value. Examine the truth in advertisements. Let students identify what advertisements are trying to sell and what promises or ideas are they using to convince them to buy the products. So have students create media. Let students create media appropriate their levels such as presentations, videos of websites. So one of the outputs here in our module that I'll be posting the soonest possible time is that you will create your own media. So you can create your short movie, your short commercial, or it could be music video. So depende na sa inyo. Okay? So, maya, ipopost ko yan kaagad. But I'm telling you that the video should not be more than 3 minutes. So, media skills. So, reflect on and analyze their own media consumption habits. So, these are the different media skills that you should possess for you to be able to become media literate person. Identify the author, purpose, and point of view in films, commercials, televisions, and radio programs, magazine and newspaper editorials, and advertising. Identify the range of production techniques that are used to communicate opinions and shape audience response. So reflect on and analyze their own media. Ayan, naulit lang pala. So identify and evaluate the quality of media's representation of the world by examining patterns, stereotyping, emphasis, and omission in print and television news and other media. Appreciate the economic underpinnings of mass media industries to make distinctions between those media which sells audiences to advertisers and those which do not. Okay? So madami itong mga media skills na to. So mahahasa kayo dito if you are actually trying to evaluate media na ginagamit natin every day. No? So halimbawa, nanonood ka ng isang news article, you're saying na tama ba ito? What will be the impact of this news? Or nanonood ka ng isang telenovela, it could be our local telenovela or it could be a Korean drama na tinitingnan mo yung mga messages conveyed by them. No? So madaming magagandang palabas na akala natin hindi maganda pero pag pinanood natin, the more na pinapanood natin, mas nakikita natin na ito pala yung messages na pinapabot sa atin itong mga palabas na to. So understand, gain familiarity and experience in using mass media tools for personal expression and communication and for purposes of social and political advocacy. So these are the different approaches to teaching media literacy. So someday you'll be teachers, yung sa inyo ay pwede namang mga nasa mga companies, but still, there will be time that you might be teaching media literacy. It could be to your friends, to your neighbor, to your family members. So media arts education approach. So it intends to teach students to value the aesthetic qualities of media and the arts while using their creativity for self-expression through creating art and media. So another is media literacy movement approach. It attempts to expand the notion of literacy to include popular culture and multiple forms of media like music, video, internet advertising, while still working within a print literacy tradition. So another is critical media literacy approach. It focuses on ideology, critiquing and analyzing the politics of representation of crucial dimensions of gender, race, class, and sexuality, incorporating alternative media production, and expanding the textual analysis to include issues of social context, control, resistance, and pleasure. So yeah, so those are the approaches in teaching media literacy. Now, media literacy can be evaluated in 3 ways. Ibig sabihin, how can you tell na you are already a media literate person? So it would be based on how well you understand the key concepts of media literacy and specific concepts and ideas being explored in the lesson. And based on the depth and quality of the students of your inquiry and analysis of the questions raised in the lesson, as well as your thoughtfulness in identifying issues and questions to examine. So we can be able to see that now when you are watching the television, you are actually reacting to what is happening around us. You are actually can easily tell the messages given or the messages that you have learned from the movie that you are watching, no? So based on how you apply specific technical skills associated with either the medium being studied, the medium used in the evaluation, or both. Okay, so ito yon. So our reference natin, yun pa din, no? So Building and Enhancing New Literacies Across the Curriculum by Lorimar Publishing Incorporated. So thank you so much for watching this video lesson. So do not forget to answer the activity sheet and create the video or the media that I'll be posting. So the dalawang activities nyo for this week. So thank you so much and keep safe.